Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 1077. I had to go through a double take. I know what episode we were on. Of Flow Wrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles. Joined today, to my right, the pride of Jewel, Iowa. A gym in a friendly setting. Setting.
Let me be the first
Wow.
on this show.
Are you going to denounce? You already denounced Diddy.
I'm not denouncing Diddy. I'm saying Happy Veterans Day and thank you to all the troops for all of their service.
Thank you, troops.
Amen. Thank you.
Oh, you copying me, Kozak?
I'm agreeing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a +1.
I'm not going to disagree.
To the
a
left.
little less significant doing it second.
Yeah, it's true. To the left, John Kozak, troop lover. Let it not be said.
Yep.
Okay, and to the further left, I thought I had a follow-up. I didn't. And to the left, the smallest bladder on the show, Tyler Meisinger. He already had to go potty break.
Well, before the show, though.
Before the show.
That's just big brain right there.
Big brain, small bladder. That's
You're not gonna thank the troops?
Thank you, troops.
Thank
You're
you.
just gonna pull a Larry David?
That's so funny. Okay, we have a lot to get into. I felt like last week was it was a fine start to this season, but a slower one, especially compared to what we were used to from last season. And then felt like all the chaos was inserted into this weekend. A lot of upsets, I feel like we're left with a ton of questions moving forward for the season, which is always a fun place to operate. JD, where do you want to begin? I bet I can guess.
All roads lead back to Iowa.
Yes.
Especially when the roads go through me. And that's where we're going this time as well. Stanford, big weekend trip to Iowa. Let's start with the Iowa duel. What stood out to you most from the Stanford-Iowa duel?
Well, it's interesting because Stanford wrestled Iowa State and Iowa, and they beat Iowa State. But really, in my opinion, the most significant and positive thing for Stanford is what they did to Iowa. So if you don't know right now, Tyler is being Fonzie, and he's banging this thing. You can't see it. It's not working. Tyler's just getting up in the middle of the show to hit this thing that's making a noise.
Yeah.
Oh, man, You
want me to stand up?
Yeah, just show them where you are, just so people understand what's happening. So, yeah, Tyler's going up here. He's not strong enough to stop that sound.
Oh.
All right.
The noise is just, hopefully the mics don't pick it up.
The noise is just the noise. The noise is here. This is where we're going to have to really dig deep and be tough and focus. But really, Stanford, despite beating Iowa State, I wasn't, overly impressed because it was a skeleton crew from Iowa State. And, they didn't pick up any big wins that, Aiden Valencia did what I thought he should do against Reading. And, it kind of fell how you would have expected. But against Iowa, they picked up two huge upsets, in my opinion. Well, one huge and one, I think, significant, with Norman beating Nelson Brands and Drake Ayala losing to Tyler Knox. So that was the standout to me, watching those two guys lose. And I don't know which match you want to start with, but really I think people are most curious on the 174 situation. Nelson Brands, Gabe Arnold, that was the discussion coming into the year, how they're going to utilize those two. And then Nelson now he's 1-1 on the year, but he hasn't scored a takedown in 2 matches. Gabe Arnold looks like, a dynamo right now, but I think a little bit of, if you're an Iowa fan and you're nervous seeing how this is going and wondering if you've got the right guys in the right weight, I'll give you 2 things. One, Gabe Arnold this year has not wrestled someone with a above 500 record. So he's looking like an absolute monster, and there's no denying he looks really, really good, but competition matters at this level. And so you want to, Gabe's competition is going to get tougher, and that's going to be a better gauge. So, conversely, Nelson's wrestled Sean Harmon, who is not a name that a lot of people know, but this room and people that know, Sean Harmon's a tough guy. And Lorenzo Norman redshirted last year, but he beat Shane Griffith at CKLV. So Nelson has had tougher competition than Gabe, no doubt. But seeing it's not the losing, it's the lack of scoring right now that has me a little concerned with Nelson. But another thing to get you maybe a little bit less nervous if you're an Iowa fan is hey, didn't wrestle any matches last year because of the suspension, right? So he's back. He's back down at a weight that's, it's a cut. How much of a cut, I'm not sure, but it's decent. So getting his footing under him, I think if it continues for Nelson, if you see it through, Iowa State and into December, that's when you get maybe a little more nervous about the decision. But right now, I think you have to let it play out with Nelson. You have to let it play out with Gabe at 84. And I don't think it's time to hit the panic button for Nelson at this point.
Is there a time where you would flip them?
I don't know.
Do you think 74 is Gabe's best weight?
I don't think at any point, unless they did it like right now, I think it's a bad idea to switch weights kind of middle of the year. I think it messes up a lot with, not just seating, but just overall like comfort at the weight and experience at the weight. I just think it's not a great idea to change weights there. I think, Patrick Kennedy exists, right? And he's a guy. Whereas he's been, I'm assuming they I don't even think they weighed him in because he's getting back from U23 Worlds. But what's going to be his role in this? Because he's not going to go down without a fight. He's going to try to start somewhere. Is it 65 again, or does he try to win 74? I don't know. But reality is for Gabe. Do you guys think? I'm curious. I don't know if I don't know if I know. Do you guys think he is definitely would place higher at 174 than 184?
No, not definitely.
I don't think so either. I think there's big dogs at both weight that I don't think are within reach for Gabe. I don't think Gabe's beaten Keegan or Levi at 174, right? And I don't think he's beaten Parker or Carter at 184. And then I think on down the line, I think it's competitive. I think he can compete with the 3 on at those weight classes. So
maybe I have a little bit of Iowa bias. I would like to see him against Levi and Keegan. Definitely,
Yeah.
He's definitely not the favorite or my pick, but those matches intrigue me.
100%. Last year I thought, I'm interested. You see Gabe's defense and his move. There are sometimes you can take a lot away from dominant wins against lesser competition. I think this is one of those.
He looked
scenarios.
sharp.
He just looked so
Offense
sharp,
and defense.
quick, good. His feel's crazy. His power on some of his finishes are like, whoa. He's really, really impressive. So now him down at 174. How big is he? That's a question. He says it would be a stretch for him at this point to make 174. So maybe this is all working out. But I think this is a situation to monitor for Iowa for sure. Because, right now it's not been, it doesn't look like Nelson's going to get you 5th place points right now. But it's 2 matches in. And Nelson also.
Love to overreact.
And also, that's why I'm not overreacting. Nelson also had a pretty slow start, if I remember correctly, the year he got 5th. Because I think he had a good Big Tens and a good NCAAs. And then you're like, wow, here he is. So I think.
And he's never been one to light up the scoreboard.
No.
But
he's really tough.
the start is notable.
He's got a nice single leg, though, and it's not really been there for him yet. But it'll be back. He's really good.
Yeah, what I remember about Nelson with the year he placed was like, whoa, like almost where did this come from?
Yeah.
Almost like a 500 record. If
Pull
I
up
remember right.
pull up his wrestle stat from that year. I don't know if it's that bad,
But I feel like if you make the switch, you got to do it right now.
Exactly.
Otherwise, man, if you extend it a month from now, and it's like you open up this whole can of worms, and then it's almost like the risk really worth the reward? Because then, like you said, you got Arnold coming down. Is he the same guy that he is at 74 as he was at 84? And is Nelson then, does it solve his problems, or is it just like
Exactly.
make it worse?
Gabe said it in his media interview, but you got a Ferrari in the garage at 84. Do you put Gabe down at 74? Let Ferrari wrestle off at 84?
This is on screen right now is Nelson's 23 season.
Oh, I can't. Can you pull it over there?
I can't, but maybe Josh can.
Oh, well, because I can't read any of that. So just pull it down unless we can get it over here.
Mike.
Well, yeah. Do you want me to just tell you he lost to?
Oh, there we go. Okay, so he lost to Rocky, Edmund Ruth, Mikey Labs, Starachi,
Those are all fine
Labriola,
losses.
Bailey O'Reilly,
But look at the score. It's all like low score.
very low. Yeah. So then he lost.
Soccer scores.
And then he beat Ruth. He beat Plott. He beat Mako at NCAAs. And Ethan Smith. That was a great tournament. So, but yeah, he started 2-2. So technically he was 500. JD was right. So yeah, that is a really interesting dynamic. But Iowa didn't put their best lineup on the mat last year. They'll redshirt a recruit in order to make things have synergy down the line. So I don't think they would. I mean, there is a reality that Gabe Arnold and Angelo Ferrari are your best 1-2 punch. And do you cut Gabe down after this year when Angelo is off of redshirt?
It doesn't seem like Angelo has the same build as his brother to go 197. That's just looks wise. I don't.
You're gonna end up with another nickname, bro.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
I'm just sizing up with eyeball test. We'll see. Maybe in 2 weeks I can stand next to him and get a better feel. But he seems more like a 184 pounder looks wise to me, which would mean if you want to get both of them in the lineup, most likely Gabe is gonna have to go down.
Or just keep Bulk and Gabe all the way up to 97.
Be the fastest heavyweight ever.
Right.
Yeah, no, that is a situation to monitor too with them. I would like to see, what they do next year. I hope we see a little Angelo this year. I think that'll be fun.
I think we probably will.
I think regardless, he's not going to be a guy that's going to want to sit around all year and not enter some competitions. So excited to see what Angelo can do for sure.
The other big upset in this duel you mentioned, 133, Drake.
Yeah, Drake goes down to Tyler Knox, and this is there's no other way to slice it. Drake does not lose to non-All-Americans basically. All his losses last year were to All-American guys. So either Tyler Knox is like really jump levels and is that guy, or there's a little cause for concern because this is sort of outside of Drake's typical behavior. He was a little up and down last year, but then you look at 5 losses last year at 125. Like that's kind of like a pillar of consistency in reality. Like he lost to D'Agostino, and I think he had a loss to
Kaler.
Ramos, and the Kaler one was like his worst loss, and Kaler's an All-American. So Drake really doesn't drop matches like this, and I say like this, but the reality is Knox was a redshirt last year, so while he took a good many losses, like there is just a different sort of intensity and focus when you're not the guy, right? And you see this sometimes, but I think there is a little cause for alarm there because it wasn't. Sometimes you see upset losses where it's like the match just ends up being a little slower than you expect, and then they kind of you're like sort of in control, and they get you at the end, almost like the Kaler match where he controlled the whole match, and then you overly pursue a slide by and you give up a takedown. But this one was it's kind of like a back and forth, sort of a shootout type of thing, and Knox got a takedown and backs to win it. So I don't know.
It was kind of more a Knox and match, like that scrambly, extended scrambles.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I feel like, more Knox's MO, which it started out, Drake hit his slide by in the first, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, Drake's going to set the tone here. And then Knox was kind of able to end up setting the tone a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, Knox is he was a good recruit coming out of high school. Like he's not just a nobody. He was a guy. And so, it could be he's going to be. I mean, Stanford had a really nice weekend, honestly. Beating Iowa State under any circumstances, I don't care the forfeits or the stars, like that. For Coach Ayers, that's an accomplishment. That's an achievement, and it's really, honestly, and I'm skipping around a little bit here. We can circle back to Drake, but like for Iowa State to be that depleted just a couple weeks before the Iowa duel, you have to be concerned if you're an Iowa State fan, because that Dresser is not a guy that holds out his team, right? Like, so if they're not wrestling, they're not healthy. Yeah, we can get off the wrestle stat thing here. If they're not, there's some teams, and we saw them last year, they'll sit guys for whatever strategic reasons. Like, that's not really Dresser's MO. So if they're not available last week, there's issues, right? And so are they going to be able to get everyone healthy and back by the Iowa duel where they're already underdogs, right? And now with these injuries, it's got to be a little concerning.
Yeah, and I don't know if people know, but Frost no longer in the All-Star
Yes.
Classic. It's going to be Lucas Bird at 133 pounds. So that's another question mark.
You need Frost. I mean, Frost Ayala, that's a big match. That's one where you're like, if Iowa State's going to win, they're going to have to probably pick off Drake. I mean, it's still going to be an amazing duel. If they're healthy, it's going to be interesting.
Swiderski's healthy at 41. He just weight. I would have liked to see him versus Aiden Valencia.
I know. How about Aiden Valencia?
And then
It's good.
Bastida, I think they said a little banged up. Who else was out?
Well,
Younger's out.
Mm-hmm.
no Osmani or Tarakina or any of them.
The thing is, though, is like everyone's forgetting about a Stanford loss if they're right by Iowa and they
Of course.
beat Iowa, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what I think this is probably more about, just getting your guys.
It's more about credit to Stanford, I guess, than like it being a signal of anything awry at Iowa State. Other than where you got to be right is the Iowa duel.
Yeah.
Yep, there was no Panera at 57.
Yep. No Gaitan.
No Gaitan.
Yeah, they were down a lot of guys. I thought Bachman looked tough. Anyway, so for Drake, I mean, it is concerning to see him lose to Tyler Knox, just because if Knox is now a guy you're going to be in slugfest win at the NCAA tournament, that expands, at least right now, the amount of tough competitors you're going to face, and it makes it harder to place high.
Drake's got the offense. I think he needs to clean up the defense a little bit. Even against Oregon State, he picked up a tech fall, but he got taken down.
Yeah.
Which, you can say, okay, yeah, but he got the tech fall. But then you give up multiple takedowns here against Knox. You feel like he's got the offense to go with anybody at 33. It's just, can you avoid getting taken down?
Yeah. Do you guys see any concerns? But I've heard some people do. Do you think he's too small?
No.
I don't either. I'm not watching those matches thinking he's a little 33.
No.
Now do I think maybe his ideal weight is like 130? Maybe where he can utilize strength a little bit more, when he shoots that single leg and can keep a grip and pull himself in a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think weight had anything to do with this
I don't
loss.
either.
Yeah, I think it's more.
And I wrestled in positions.
Yeah, for sure. I think Knox is good. He majored Bouzakis last year too at CKLV. I think he took 5th there or 6th.
Yeah.
But I think 33 is just a better weight class up and down than 125. So it's like when you do move up, and it's like, all right, now you're
harder.
right. You're right in the mix with all these guys who. The depth of 33 is just better than the depth of.
Yeah, I mean, Bouzakis is our 12.
Mm-hmm.
McGonigal 13. Noto 14. Noto's going back down to 125. He just wanted
For sure?
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Okay.
So, anyway, yeah. What are you going to do with Drake? How much are you going to hit him for that?
I don't know. We'll have to look at Knox a little bit deeper and see how high he can go up.
Not going to be too high.
Yeah.
I guess he could go above Bouzakis. Anyway.
I don't remember who else Knox lost to last year.
Right.
What do you think is Aiden Valencia's ceiling? And or should they roll him out?
Well, here's my thing on Aiden. I would, if I'm Chris Ayers, I'm using him right away. I think he's clearly ready to go. But is that what Aiden wants to do? Is that the decision they're going to ultimately want to make? Is the question. Because, listen, let's be honest. Stanford has lost some guys to the portal in the past. Guys want the degree; they're going to get that degree. I'm just thinking, if I'm Chris Ayers, and I'm not, but I'm using him every year I can before these guys get their degree, and then Real Woods goes to Iowa, and you've got Shane Griffith to Michigan. These things, they just happen there, and they happen in a lot of places. So that's one thing I would consider. But is he ready to beat Alirez or Mendez right now? I don't think so. Would he be in a match with Bo Bartlett? Maybe, but for his development, it may be the best thing to redshirt him and cut him loose next year and watch him go crazy. But he's clearly ready, and they could really. The thing is, if you're going to redshirt Cardenas, you should redshirt Valencia too. And I think they're redshirting Cardenas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the trend nowadays is like if you're ready to go, you go.
Absolutely.
And especially if you're healthy and, you get these 5 times out where you can test the waters. And if he passes the test every time, I feel like, man, it's going to be really hard to keep him on the bench when you could have an All-American just sitting there.
And that's a crazy bar to set, to be like, I don't know if you're going to beat the returning national champions, plural.
Oh, I don't think
at
that's
this
yeah.
rate.
Yeah.
And that's why you should redshirt. Like, and those might be competitive matches.
I don't think that's the bar to determine if you should redshirt him or not. He asked or you asked what his ceiling was. That's what I think it is. I totally agree that the era is just different now, and you should definitely use them when they're healthy. And I got into an argument just like Spay loves to argue, and so do I, about Luke Stanich and Malik Hines. And I think it's so clear you use Luke Stanich right now after what he did. Maybe we can talk about his weekend, but he beat Limley last week. Sorry, Tyler. And then he beats Composto and Orini this week. I think he looks just really ready to play. I mean, 41 is clearly a fine weight for him, He looks every bit of 41. He's beat 3 really good guys in a weekend. He's not losing. I think you use him. And I know when it's always tough when you have a guy that's going to qualify and can win matches at the tournament like Hines. But at the same time, if you're Lehigh, it's like, how do you pass up every opportunity to have Crookham and Stanich in the lineup together? I think it's just what you do.
Here's a question for you. If you're a head coach, and you think there's a good chance Malik beats him head-to-head. Maybe you see it in the room because it's a room thing, but do you wrestle them off and give Stanich the opportunity? Like, say you want, I don't know what the Lehigh coach is, but say, we want Stanich in the lineup or insert X wrestler because we think they have a chance to score more points at NCAAs. But their kryptonite is the current starter head-to-head, who we know is going to be a solid guy, qualify, maybe win a match or 2 at NCAAs.
Yeah.
Do you give him the opportunity to win his spot outright and wrestle off? But you're also giving you're also giving yourself the opportunity to make the decision a lot harder if the guy you want in doesn't win.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a ranking match is irrelevant for this situation. It's like, how are they doing at tournaments? And I mean, I feel like Luke Stanich in 2 weekends has shown more consistency than Malik's been able to at 141.
I should say, I do think Malik has also beaten Composto.
Yes, he has, and Ryan Jack.
And Ryan Jack. So
I know, but what you get, and this is where we went back and forth, but Luke Stanich does not drop the matches that Malik Hines has kind of historically.
Right.
Even from when he was a 25-pounder where he was an All-American and ranked number 1 at a point. It just feels like but it is a tough call for sure. And, maybe it'll be the best thing for Luke to redshirt this year. But for Lehigh, it feels like their best team just has Luke in it. And you never know how you look at some of these guys that hang around for 4 or 5 years, they're just not the same at the end.
Right.
Whereas it used to be thought you would never want to trade that first year for that 5th year. Now that 5th year is sometimes it's great.
7th year. No.
Now the 5th year is sometimes the 7th year. But anyway.
Back to
Iowa, probably.
Stanford, Iowa.
Yeah.
Another young guy who he got handed a loss against Iowa pretty decisive, but who I like, who's fun, Gregor Chalakian.
He's good. He's been a nice little surprise for them. But Ja'Cory, it seemed like he just started to figure things out against Chalakian, and then that was it. But yeah, I like Chalakian. He's fun to watch. I thought it was a good debut. Man, Parco looked awesome against Abbas. I mean, teching him.
All the transfers. Really good.
They really did. Parco looked really good with
Brand said in his presser afterwards, he was playing patty cake there for the first couple minutes, but then he got going.
Ja'Cory?
No, Parco, because there was no score for the first 2 minutes or maybe the first period. I can't remember exactly. And then, but once Parko got on top, he tilted him up a couple times, and then just one takedown.
That's probably what Parker was thinking. Is like, I'm going to turn this guy. They've wrestled a lot of
bunch.
times too. But yeah, I thought Ja'Cory did a really good job. I mean, Caliendo, that was the match of the duel. Garvin jumps out to a 9-2 lead and then just had nothing left. I thought good win for Caliendo against. I mean, you got to think Hunter Garvin, Iowa City kid, wrestling in Iowa City. Like, he was ultra motivated in that, and he looked it, but then just that 7 minutes is tough. He exerted a lot in that first period. And I think that's going to be a theme for Hunter and his success is like energy maintenance for 7 minutes, because there's no doubt he can take down literally everyone in the country with some of his upper body stuff. But is he going to be able to hold it together for 7 minutes? And against Caliendo, who passes another test and just continues to look really, really good. Really kind of like he's been like the most consistent guy for Iowa the last 2 years now.
Shout out to JD for the line.
Oh, my God. That line was a roller
baby.
coaster. He set it at 4.5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
4.5, and think 9-2. So you're feeling really good if you had the 4.5, and then Caliendo just
Comes back to one by 5.
runs it down.
17-12, right?
Yeah. That was a great match. And great. I mean, you salute Hunter Garvin for a great effort, but like Caliendo, that was awesome. Gave Carver fans a lot to be excited about.
We talked a lot about Nelson Brands, but I don't know if we mentioned just your thoughts on Lorenzo Norman out of this match and maybe his ceiling. Does this match say more about Norman or Brands?
I think it might, honestly. I think his defense is really good. His length is like really how he can like kind of collect that second leg off his single. I think he's going to be a tough out. We saw it against Griffith last year, and then, his redshirt year was kind of fine. But now that he's the guy, it's his weight. I think he's for sure like a top 6 contender type of wrestler, but we need to see a little bit more too, right? Because while a win over Nelson Brands is a statement, like he made a statement when he beat Griffith, and then he took some losses that were to not Shane Griffith types. So definitely something to monitor. Man, Stanford's got a lot of guys. They have a lot of good wrestlers.
They're a tough lineup.
Really
No
tough.
surprise, Harris is doing a good job.
Man, the biggest bummer for me was no Provo this week, because I wanted to see, and we haven't mentioned it yet because he didn't wrestle, but Cale Peterson weighed in for Iowa at 125, and it sounds like he might be their guy moving forward. And Provo is just like a perfect test for Cale. But no Provo, and they don't have a backup 25, which is a shame, and so no match for Iowa State or Iowa.
Did you hear what was going on? Was it skin or?
I don't know. He was there.
He was
though.
there, yeah. I saw him.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
bet it was skin or something.
Really?
I don't know. I'm just projecting because that's what happened with Lemley last year too.
Yeah.
If you don't bring the extra guy, then you just can't.
Some don't have the extras,
Yeah.
like some of these
Smart schools.
smart schools. Like Northwestern was always in this predicament too, I feel. But yeah, I wanted to see Cale, and is Iowa, did they wrestle this week?
No.
They're off?
Off, I believe. Oh, Bellarmine.
Oh, okay. So they Russell Bellarmine. Stephen Buchanan continues to look good. He looked good against Stemet. He's a beast for sure. And then Keeter does what he does. I'm trying to think what else notable. But yeah, 33 and 74 were the stories for Iowa. Situation to monitor. I'm definitely not dismissing it. I think it's notable.
You talked a little bit about Iowa State, your thoughts on them, but I don't think you mentioned a Christian Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
How good he looked.
I was super impressed with Carroll. I think he looks really fast, really strong. And this guy, he kind of, you think about his physicality, and the guy's got really good technique. He's really competent in scrambles. Totally impressed with Christian Carroll. I think he's it's just another really interesting guy at 197. Like, his redshirt year was a little odd last year, but man, I think he's going to be perfectly functional. That was the question. Like, are you going to be the right size for 197? As of right now, he absolutely looks it. He looked really fast, powerful, great technique.
Didn't get tired.
Did not get tired. And while we talk about Christian Carroll, can we talk about the first 2 weeks for Nick Stemet? He wrestled AJ Ferrari, Christian Carroll, and Stephen
Buchanan.
Buchanan. It's like, golly.
And
They
then
have to go to break.
I know in a couple weeks he has to go to CKLV.
That'll be easier.
I don't know who else they have in between there, but
I think
was
like
actually a
all those
question.
guys.
A question was like, does Nick Stemmet have the toughest regular season schedule in the FRL era?
I also like thinking of college wrestling in the pre-FRL era and the FRL era.
That's how the history books will view
College wrestling.
This is before FRL, so we're not even sure if it happened.
You know, there have been some significant changes, you know, like the 3-point takedown, riding time, changing times and weights,
A podcast.
and a podcast.
How do you think a match with Christian Carroll and Stephen Buchanan goes?
I think Carroll getting away will be a challenge. I think that could be a big factor. I think right now Buchanan, I think too savvy. I think he can match some of the speed power stuff.
We'll say Munoz was able to get in very deep a couple times. If Carroll can get in that deep, I think
He's gonna come up with
A
it.
little more horsepower.
he did run the pipe one time quick on Stemmet, but yeah, he's gonna have the horsepower to maybe pick him up and finish.
Yeah, I think that's a good matchup for Buchanan personally. I think he's still the favorite.
He's really like Matt savvy.
Yeah, he
you know,
just
been in how many of these big time matches.
he just seems cool. Like I don't know. I mean, it's at NCAAs. Who knows? We'll see how the first match goes. But I think first crack. I think Buchanan.
And Carver.
Yeah, and Carver. Holy cow!
I will also say
Say it.
Cale Sanderson, Jake Varner, Ivan Gadsden,
Christian Carroll.
Christian Carroll,
Younger
97U.
Younger Bastida for a minute.
Yeah.
For a skinny minute. Yeah, no, for sure. I think he's going to do a nice job for them this year. But Buchanan, it's tough. Him versus AJ Ferrari is really interesting. Both super quick guys, very strong. Still probably favor AJ there, but I think it is.
He doesn't look super big. For
No,
the
he
weight,
doesn't.
Kind of crazy.
I think he's got a giant chest and back.
Yeah.
197 is actually really fun this year. Maybe in like the early FRL era, you guys used to knock on 197, but
Oh, yeah.
it's a really good weight class. This year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's part of why the GOAT has such a tough schedule, just because it's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. I mean, you got a national champion ranked 4th in this weight class. That's how good it is.
That's how you know.
Yeah, that's one reason.
All
Yeah,
right.
that was a great shout out to Stanford for
Shout out to Stanford giving up 6 points at 125 and still beating Iowa State.
yeah.
Even though it was a shell of their starting lineup, but
Yeah.
still notable. Let's mention these picks because
Dang,
your boy went
you
3-0.
rigged them. Sad. It's crazy. I'm so sad that we didn't get this Stanich Jack match because I feel like I was going to get that one right. And honestly, even though the match didn't happen, I think I should get a partial credit for this. Even though-
So the 3 matches that happened were Ruth versus Fishback. It was a pick'em. Ruth won 2-1. We all got that one correct. We all got Caliendo Garvin correct, barely by half a point.
Wow.
And then Schultz Trumbull. I was the only one that got that one correct. I made Schultz a 1.5 favorite, and he got the pin.
Dang it. I thought you said Luffman.
Sorry.
Could have sworn you said Luffman. Yeah, Schultz lost to Luffman and then pins Isaac Trumbull. Dude, Journeyman was it created a lot of rankings chaos for these two boys.
Yes, it did.
I don't envy your position here. Trumbull tried to do the old kickover against the biggest heavyweight we've had since Dustin Fox. So I don't know if that was the best idea. But
That's a good name pool.
you live and learn. Yeah, Dustin Fox, look him up. That's a big guy.
JD wants to bring back super heavyweight. He said so.
Dustin Fox Unleashed would have been great because he like Colton and like Adam Kuhn like actually had to cut for 285. Fox was a big dude, large individual. They went from I don't think it was exactly back to back, but they went from Dustin Fox to Mike McMullen at heavyweight, which is like the most different heavyweights that have ever existed.
Yeah, Mike is like half his size now.
Yeah,
What he was.
literally. Mike is like looks like a 184 pounder now. It's amazing. Oh, he was like just a super jacked heavyweight. Anyway, so we want to talk about some of the JD strikes first with the pick'em.
Well, just what do you think of Schultz's performance, the up and down, and
I don't know.
what do you take away from that?
Well, I think for Colton, it's like, he's got to find a way to generate outside of like he had like a DQ on 6 stalls in like a first period. Like just the guy couldn't stay on the weight.
Beautiful.
So like he needs to be able to create flurries where guys will shoot on him, right? Because that's where he's gonna. But right now, no one's gonna shoot on Colton Schultz because it's a horrible idea. But Colton's got to figure out what if they don't shoot and I can't push them around. What happens? And Colton's got nice offense. He's got an outside step, high crotch. To me, Colton has not been a guy who, is immune to taking some surprising losses in the regular season and then figures it out at NCAAs. He's lost to A.J. Nevels. He lost to Pitzer. So these things have happened, and then he regains his form by NCAAs. So not super concerned. But yeah, he didn't look like the best Colton Schultz to me. And losing on a stall point in overtime is kind of nuts.
Yeah. Before we move on to standouts and surprises, I just want to read off some of these potential punishments that people sent in.
How about we have this idea? All right, whoever loses should get punished, and they only come up with punishments for me. What the heck?
Well, it is the most likely scenario.
Oh, come on.
All right, this one was from Matthew Rawson.
What's he say?
CP should have to enter an open tournament.
Okay, that's Caleb Piles for sure. That's Caleb's dream is for me to enter a wrestling tournament.
Would you do that?
No. I'm not gonna have footage of me wrestling on the internet. And I would more than anything, I would get injured. I can't. It's gonna happen.
That's not the only punishment suggested for you that might end up in you getting injured.
Okay, what else?
From Jay Nightrich.
Maybe.
CP's punishment should be having to do yoga on stream.
You get injured.
Man, I don't know. I would so much rather do a wrestling tournament, but I know I know the consequences of that could be long lasting. Whereas doing yoga, I will hate the entire time.
Yoga will last longer.
Yes.
You could lose 2 matches fast.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. If they attack my impossible leg, Tyler, it could be.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I don't want to do yoga at all. That would just not be fun. Losing
Well, that's the
wrestling.
point of a punishment.
That's a
It's
good
not
point.
supposed to be fun.
Fine, I'll enter a tournament.
Whoa.
I won't really. I won't lose.
Listen,
What other ones?
John said CP has to shave his head.
Okay, bald because I used to have a buzz cut back in the day.
Bald.
Bald.
Oh, someone in the live chat, it's not immortalized in our comments, but someone in the live chat on last show said CP should dye his hair blonde like Tyler.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
How long does that last?
I mean, look at my hair. I dyed it a couple weeks ago. It's almost grown out now.
You would probably have to dye and then go to buzz a couple days
Yeah.
later to get rid of it.
I mean,
that would be the move for
Depends
you.
on how long you want to stick with it.
Would you dye the whole, like the full hair, or would you buzz first and then dye to look like?
Buzz. Man, I don't know what I would do. I kind of
Dye
want
the whole hair.
Honestly, I want to see what it would look. I mean, I know it would just look like this, but blonde. But
I'm sure there's like a filter you could
that's a good point.
to see what you would look like.
We'll hook you up with a filter later. Us Gen Zers
Yeah.
will show you how.
What if I'm too hot at that point? That's what I'm worried about.
Too hot for FRL.
Yeah,
The FRL era.
yeah.
This guy says, host episode of FRL in a pink singlet.
that was an 8th
I
grader.
know, right? That one was just funny to me.
That is funny.
So I don't know if we found a winner yet or any winners. For
Keep
us.
sending them in.
Keep sending them in because,
We'll know when it's right.
right, when you know, you know.
Are we gonna come up with ones for you guys too?
We'll
We'll
just
start suggesting them.
yeah.
There's also a scenario where we find a good one that works for anybody.
all three.
Yeah.
I think too. Like,
JD loves
buzz your
yoga.
head. Buzz
JD
your head.
voluntarily does yoga.
That's true.
And shaves his head. And he dyes his hair blonde. All the punishments are things they literally do.
Live our life.
Grow mustache.
Yeah, grow a mustache.
Avery Gaming wants to wrestle you in an open tournament.
I don't know. Isn't he big?
He said his coach will be Sion.
Avery's like a big guy. Isn't he like a 197?
I don't know. We'll see if he
I wrestled Trey. That was a horrible idea. He was 215. I was messed up for weeks. I still have a shoulder situation. It can't do what it used to do.
Kyle Bergman says sign CP up for the Austin Marathon.
Oh man, that would wreck me too. There's a lot of things that would make it harder. I've never run that far before.
Fun fact about CP is sometimes he just like takes off sprinting because he wants to like prove to himself that he still can.
Yeah,
I like when you do that.
I do that. You got to be. I'm trying to stay twitchy.
Like you just got to make sure that you can just take off whenever you need to.
That's
in case.
That's right. Well, it's like
In case you ever find yourself in the backseat of a car during road rage.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I was ready. I would have been prepared for that. Yeah, I read somewhere like at past a certain age is like the last time most people will ever sprint again.
Really?
Not gonna be me.
Have you ever seen those dad sprint races?
Yeah, and they just
where
fall.
like they either fall or like pull their hamstrings.
Dad sprint races?
Yeah, they're just like these big dads that they challenge each other races, and like one either falls or pulls up lane.
Can I find footage of this?
Oh,
Because they don't do what I do. They're scared to sprint, not me.
Okay.
I
Is this
sprint
like-
every day.
Okay, I found footage of a dad sprint race. Father's race. You're talking
No,
about
this
with
ain't
people
it.
falling over?
No, it's like picnic dads.
Okay.
A couple Michelob's deep, and then
non-athletes.
I'll have to do some more research.
yeah, research.
All right, well, you're researching. Let's get to our standouts and surprises from the weekend. Let's do standouts for CP.
Man, Vince Robinson, NC State 125. What a statement from him. Beating a couple ranked guys dominantly. Beat Sotelo, beat Gallagher. Really, I think cemented himself as the starter, at least for right now, for NC State over Jacob Camacho. I think not just in, Camacho had a rough showing. I think he was 0-3.
Yeah.
And so writing is definitely on the wall there. Vince redshirted last year, so this is a year for him. So NC State's got to wrestle their best guy here, and it looks like Vince. And last year he was majored by Camacho, and he had another loss to, I think, the Campbell guy. So other than that, didn't really have any bad losses, and those aren't bad losses, truly. And now this year he looks like a really tough out. I think he's the guy you use if you're Coach Papalizio, and he definitely made a statement here at Journeyman.
It's tough when didn't Camacho beat him in the wrestle off?
Yeah. 5-4.
But that's
The results have.
it's less tough now though.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's just like a starting data point. It's like, okay, I don't even know a metaphor, but like it doesn't matter. It's all on how you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen guys beat their
Yeah.
teammate in the wrestle off. We know not to put too much stock in that.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's the NC State lineup is just fascinating to me because, right now they're redshirting Ryan Jack and they're redshirting Jackson Arrington. And we saw Ed Scott take a loss to Jude Swisher, and I think Arrington, he had a great performance. So what do you do there? Do you consider 65? They need some help maybe at NC State. Does Ed go 65 and you use Arrington at 57, and then 49? Who have they been using? Biskins. And you have Orini at 41. So, and now 33, do you consider bumping Camacho? Camacho's been at 125 for like 6 years, like a long time. That just, there's not a good track record of success for guys but fifth year at 125. Pretty rare. Patrick Laurie, Nick Soriano are sort of anomalies there, but it's just something that takes a toll on people. You think about the McDonoughs, Escobedo, Troy Nickerson. These guys at the end were just not the same.
Courtney, he's another good positive one.
Brandon Courtney. Well, not really.
Not really.
That wasn't his last year when he made the finals.
I suppose.
He wrestled the next year, and he didn't place as high. He did okay, but
Maybe some guys need to do what Nick Soriano did. Take a couple years off of 125. Make your return back to it.
that's true. He wasn't always a 25-pounder.
Give yourself a break for a couple of years.
I don't know if we'll ever see that again. Someone win a title at 33-25, even place at 33 than 25. That is nuts. So yeah, I don't know what NC State has a lot of really good wrestlers. It feels like they have so many good wrestlers that they've created a really unique problem where the guys you maybe want to redshirt are your best options. And Coach Papalizio, he typically wrestles his best lineup. So they've got time to to figure it out and sort things out. And Ed's
Heavyweight too is now a discussion because T-Rums goes down to Schultz, and then Treffen beats Luffman, who beat Schultz.
I think with that one, I think it's Trumbull still. I think it would take a lot for Isaac Trumbull to not be the starter for NC State. Whereas the others, I feel like it's more of a question. That could just be, me talking nonsense, but that's just how I view it. But yeah, so that's definitely a standout for me. Sorry, that was a long way to say Vince Robinson was a standout.
Kozak, who's your standout?
Give me Big Jim. He
speak on it, brother.
Yeah, he goes. It's App State invite
Roster.
Yeah, which you can't watch. I don't think it was streamed anywhere, but he did pin Big Cat.
Hunter Kaka, his
so seems like Jim Mullen's going to be the starter this year, and he's a guy who's like probably immediately All-American contender, super athlete, got some really nice offense.
He's looking good so far.
I'm looking forward to watching this year. Yeah.
We did not see this Sonny Sasso, Andy Smith showdown. I guess Sasso going to be out for a little bit, so we don't know. Smith will be the guy.
Protecting his Hodge.
He's protecting his Hodge.
After 5 first period pins.
We see this sometimes. And then at 125, it's worth mentioning, Eddie Ventresca, he is so back. He beat Cooper Flynn for the first time as not his teammate,
yes.
but for the 5th time overall. But Eddie, had one of the more this to me is like there's never been more evidence that he was totally injured in a very bad way last year for his results. Not just beating Flynn, but he beat Luna 9-2. Luna majored him last year. So Eddie's back for the Hokies at 125, and that'll be exciting to watch. But of course, it was a 1 takedown match with Cooper Flynn as they're contractually
had
obligated.
to be. Yeah.
Actually, sometimes there were no takedowns in those matches.
Mm-hmm. A lot of 2-1 matches.
Yeah.
My standout performance of the weekend, not on the college scene. It's Daniel DeShazer.
Oh, wow.
And Bill Farrell winner.
I thought you were going to, when you said that, I thought you were going to say Duke Mafia, PJ Duke, because this young man, you're not going to say PJ Duke because of what he did in the finals.
I will not.
So I will take this opportunity to make him another standout. This guy, well, I'll defer to Kozak here, but he looks like he could potentially make the world team next year. A year of development, if he can stay healthy and improve, and he is going to try to make the 70-kilogram world team. That's where he sees himself for next year. So definitely something to monitor. His power and strength and how he can move laterally is, man, he looks so good. He beat Bryce Andonian soundly. He pinned him. He beat Will Luan soundly. And he is so physically overpowering these guys. That's what,
That's
really
a like 18-year-old kid. Yeah.
Man-child.
Yeah. His loss at World Team Trials was to Pantelio, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was a war.
It was a
literal.
That's all I remember about the match. I don't remember the score.
Pantelio got up early.
Like 7-2.
He was kind of picking them apart, and then PJ was sort of moving them around, and Alec played it more smart, but then PJ was just like coming at him crazy.
You could tell PJ was getting frustrated.
Right.
Super frustrated. He broke a TV in this one.
Of course.
That's messed up.
So yeah, it's like, can he beat Pantelio, and is James Green gonna stay around? Because like it feels like those are the only 2 guys that would really.
It was 7-0. I just looked it up.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
beat him 7-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels like in a year, he is improving rapidly before our eyes. So, yeah.
I see.
Good job, PJ.
Any other standout performances?
Tyler, you got any?
I just had one on my brain, but then you distracted me with being sad about Will. You know what? People are going to hate me for this one.
Will Luan.
I stand out. Cam Catcherbone and Michigan State Frosh-Off Division champion with 2 pins in the semis and finals.
Wow.
Congratulations.
The freshman division?
Congratulations, freshman
And sophomore.
Cam Catcherbone.
Michigan had been on a good recruiting streak recently, too. They picked up Moses Mendoza and who'd they get this weekend?
Flickin.
Yes.
Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Braden Scholes had a good weekend.
Man.
He was the Hodge. He won the Hodge this week.
He won the Hodge this weekend. Yeah, we should give out a Hodge every
A
week.
weekly weekend Hodge winner.
So last week, Sonny Sasso, clear Hodge Trophy winner. This week, I got to stop being year. Braden
Week
Scholes.
2, Dan Hodge Trophy Award winner goes to Braden Scholes for going 4-0 with 4 pins.
That's pretty good. And the Ruiz match was nuts because Ruiz looked like a beast. He got 2 awesome looking takedowns. You're like, oh yeah, because I kind of gassed up Ruiz.
You're like, oh yeah.
I kind of gassed up Ruiz at the in the preseason. I'm not selling, but and then he gets rolled through on a little cartwheel and he gets pinned by Scholes. It was a nice little maneuver. I think we're gonna show it here. Right here is good. So it's like standing and then he just cartwheels, kind of type thing. Boom.
That was nice.
Yeah, and then just pins him.
And that's how you win a Hodge right
That's
there.
how you win a Hodge. That's Hodge behavior right there.
Hey, this reminds me, before I forget, before we move on to surprises from the weekend, Tyler, go back to FRL 77 and see what we were talking about.
Oh, I started doing that, but
We
it
were
was
gonna do it, and
forever to like scroll down.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have to buy me some time while I do that, because
Well, we're going to get to our surprises
great.
from the weekend, and I'll go first. My surprise, sticking with Illinois, Ed Ruth, too. Not his best weekend. He lost to Fishback, like we said, and then he was upset by Binghamton.
I think he beat Fishback, didn't he?
He beat
Or
Fishback.
beat Fishback, but it was
Lost-
close.
Yeah.
2-1, but he got upset
Lost to
day
Ebert.
1.
He lost to Soldano.
And Soldano.
Got pinned.
Saldano? Oh, that
He got pinned in overtime.
In overtime, yeah.
Someone asked, should overtime pins count?
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny thing. Like,
Clearly, there is data that this is a very close. There's not a big talent discrepancy. Like, it
No.
should be a close match, and if you wrestled them a bunch, it probably will be close. But then you get the max points possible in a match with an overtime pin.
yeah, I don't know. It's a tough decision for the wrestling gods.
I know a way to settle it.
No ties.
Overtime doesn't exist.
Ooh, poof.
There you go.
But yeah, Edmond. Well, it's the Binghamton loss was a surprise. A guy rode him really tough, really good leg ride. Elmer,
Ebert. Will Ebert.
dang it, I'm sorry, Ebert.
Elmer Fudd?
And then Soldano. I mean, Soldano is he is the Space Mountain. They're gonna rename the ride, Ryan Soldano. Because he lost to the Harvard guy, just trying all the crazy stuff, and the Harvard guy just kept his hips back and would just like fall on top of him. It's crazy. Coaching Brian Soldano has to be the most difficult.
Just
thing.
don't do it.
Yeah, you don't.
He's like, all right,
man, just cook.
let's go wrestle.
What's my surprise? Shoot, skip me. I'll come back.
Rozak?
I was going to say skip me. No,
Dang it.
honestly, it was Camacho.
Yeah.
I did not expect him. He lost to Sotelo, he lost to Babin and Sheldon Seymour. So yeah, just really surprised. I think the move for him now is just commit to 133. NC State doesn't have a clear-cut starter there.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of just what you do. Maybe you give him a month, 6 weeks, just kind of like, all right, get big, adjust, and then gear up for maybe it's even just second semester, 133.
One last ride.
Yeah.
Fat and sassy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it with their lineup, but outside of Robinson, not a great weekend for the Wolfpack, I thought.
The wolf pack.
Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Wolfpack.
Yeah, I mean, they wrestled so many guys, so they were. I mean, that is another thing. Like a lot of, if you this early in the season expose your team to a lot of game competition, you see this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In the
I don't think it's time
that's why Vegas is CKLV is like kind of always nuts. Is like the first tough test, and you see, Lorenzo Norman beats Shane Griffith. There's so many big upsets there, and then everything. Water returns to its level through the course of the year.
Yeah, I'm definitely not hitting panic button
No.
on NC State. I think
have
there's
too
still
many
a
good
solid lineup.
wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. I just think a handful of their guys did not have good weekends.
Pat Pop stockpiles 25s like a doomsday prepper. This
You can't
guy,
always keep them, but
this
he
guy,
gets 'em.
he had Steve O'Pullen, Anthony Noto, Jacob Camacho, Vince Robinson, all within like,
Well, the crazy thing is too, Vince Robinson, he wasn't even a 25 coming in. He wrestled 132 his senior year of
Yeah.
high school and 138 at times too. So I didn't see him being a 125 in college. I just assumed he was going to be a 33.
My surprise.
No, we need more 25s.
Yeah. Is Meyer. Don't know what to make of the, he's so risky. And, that was one of our questions, like, hey, is his style just too dangerous for his, head, right? He's had concussion problems in the past, and now we're seeing it. And you watch the clips, and you're like, you think a couple things. You're like, wow, I'm surprised that hurt him so bad, which makes me think his head is very much in it's very tenuous, right? Like it doesn't take much for him to get injured, which is highly concerning, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of almost panic buttoning Meyer Shapiro.
Yeah.
Just because concussions can be such a serious thing, and they can kind of snowball.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because we know the level Meyer can
It's
wrestle
insane.
at. He's this huge talent that I am nervous will be taken from us because, this isn't ankles and knees.
Yeah.
This is
You can't
head
Carter Starachi tough your way through it. It's like concussions are just different. And like the first time he's like tries an inside trip and he kind of looks like he lands on his shoulder, but his head kind of bounces. It's not like you see some head injuries, you're like, oh man, I look bad. The way these happen don't look that bad. And then he's clearly negatively impacted by it. So you can't help but think this is not a good situation. Did he have any other matches?
No.
So that was his only match against, Harrington, who is, not someone who you would expect to have competitive match with Meyer. And so he forfeits out. So, and it's not a new issue for Meyer. So cause for concern there.
Yeah. Any other surprises?
My surprise was Hunter Garvin until it wasn't. Yeah, like it was almost, he looked so good in that first match, like first half of the match, and then
Dang.
crazy.
Did you track down episode 77?
I did. We're only going to want to talk about half of it, but the first bullet point that we could talk about is news out of Michigan, Massa Micic and their trophy chances.
Oh.
That was something you guys were talking about. The next one is
Massa Micic and my singer.
Yep.
Wow.
Should have included that in there.
The next one is Michigan a trophy team? So this is great for talking about this. Then you guys were talking about the deepest rooms in the country.
Michigan.
Yeah, nothing crazy or worth revisiting, really, to be honest with you.
Man, now I just want to know what was the thing we can't talk about.
Yeah, look up Google FRL77. And
I'm just in Spotify here.
Yeah.
What year was it? What was the date?
2015.
Oh, and just so you guys know what this bit is, we're going back 1,000 episodes and looking at what we were talking about it.
It's like a history on this day.
Yeah.
Or this day in history.
The almost pre-FRL era, as we've called it. This is back when we were doing just straight rankings podcasts and uploading them.
You want to know what I was doing at that time?
Tell me.
I was a youth pastor in Michigan.
Heck.
One of my responsibilities was, those church signs that you have to manually change. I'd have to walk up to the church sign
It's like the magnetic letters.
and
or whatever
change
they
it, and
tell
I
you.
would listen to FRL as I would.
Oh, really?
As I would do it.
How long
Yeah.
did it take you to do that?
I don't know, probably like 20 minutes.
Okay.
You got to walk to the corner.
I thought you were about to say an hour and a half.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would make it take an hour and a half.
All right, let's get to questions.
Yeah.
All right. First one. No, not this one. First one. Chances that they pull Stanich's red shirt. Think he can place really high?
I do think he can place really high. He can't. I mean, he's not going to. I mean, Mendez, Alirez, Bo. I think that's a big
Tier.
tier, whatever. But I think you continue to wrestle him. Man, the thing is, do you use him against Penn State or not? Because that's in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks.
So do you consider using him then, or do you wait? I don't know. Because giving him a shot against Bo Bartlett, you'll learn a lot, but at the same time, yeah. My opinion, my read, use him. He's healthy now. He's wrestling well now. Next year isn't promised. 3 years from now isn't promised. Crookham, Stanich, let him run.
Yeah, the question was, what are the chances? I think they're high because I think Stanich is the real deal, and I think he is really good.
And I
I
think
think he'll continue to impress.
I think this is how you play it with him too. Like get him in a bunch of, because I mean, going up 2 weights is, it's a little more unique. Everyone knows my stance on changing weights when you go up. I don't even factor that into like the prognostication. It's more like the field around you. But he's passed the tests, beaten 3 really good guys already, and probably only gonna get bigger and better. So I'd use him.
Next one, odds Vincent Robinson wins NCAAs.
I mean, it's not high at this point. I mean, no one's really all that high, but
Give him odds.
I need to see a lot more. He gets a percentage.
Yeah, he's in the pie.
In a nugget. Yeah, there's a Vince Robinson portion of the pie.
Pull up the 125 rankings here. Who do you think he can beat in here?
Could he beat Tanner Jordan?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think Matt Ramos is a tough matchup for him.
Yeah. Caleb Smith's a good match.
Yeah, I mean,
Man, he's-
top
Camacho's 7.
but
Enough.
not anymore.
I know, but we're saying
Yeah.
roll with him.
Flynn, Spratley, like those are all matches for him.
What do you give him? You give him 10?
No,
No.
that's so high.
You think it's that
Against the field.
5.
Yeah, like if you got to think about it. Like,
1 in 20 is pretty good.
right. Think about if they wrestled this tournament 50 times.
Yeah.
Does he win one? I don't know.
I don't know. Man,
I'm
it's
just
1
high-
week.
I'm just
It's
high
one-
on Vincent Robinson right
Evidently.
Yeah. Well, you just look at how he matches up with all those guys. I think he can go.
I know, but putting it
Can
together.
he put 5 together against these guys?
Yeah.
Give him odds.
I mean,
I said 5%.
Okay.
I mean, like Steve-O's 11. Like he could definitely lose that match. McCrone.
I think he beats Steve-O. Young Steve.
All right. You guys done with this topic?
Certain is 16. I'm not positive he wins that match.
Sam Schmidt wants to know who you think the first number 1 to take a lose this year will be.
Who will take that lose?
Lose,
Um,
Beth.
yeah, who would it be? So
Well, look at the All Star this weekend, or right Sunday.
could it be Carter Starachi against Parker Keckeisen?
Wow.
Um,
Would you put money on that? Like, who do you think is the most likely?
what are the odds? I would not for even money, but if you made Starachi a significant favorite, throw some shekels on Parker. What other number 1s are wrestling in the All Star? Levi,
He's number 2.
oh wow, interesting, undefeated national champion behind a guy with
Who's he beating? What's
Ja'Cory Teamer.
exactly?
Beat every
David Carr.
Who is he beating? Literally everyone.
Are you actually arguing for Levi
You
over?
think
Keegan?
Levi has had a better
you
college career
serious?
than Keegan
Had a
O'Toole?
better
If
season.
you actually argue this, your take on any ranking from here is
No.
Invalid.
invalid.
Well, you guys invalidated yourselves with the AJ blasphemy.
Stop it.
No, I mean it's an undefeated guy,
Undefeated.
undefeated national champ.
They're not all created equal.
They're not. So can't be Levi. What other number 1s are wrestling? Help me out, guys. So Figs, I don't know. They held him out yesterday, so
Yeah.
depends if they're going to use him or not. 33 Crookham, they're not. He's not wrestling.
When does Iowa wrestle Michigan?
I think
That won't
Mendez
be
has a
till
tough schedule. Like Mendez does Vegas.
Oh, Mendez Bartlett at
Yeah, could be.
All Star too.
He's probably the most likely one. Number 1 at 49, Caleb Henson. We haven't seen. A lot of number 1s aren't wrestling yet.
Mm-hmm. Kirk Flee, we haven't seen.
Corey. It won't be Mitchell. Yeah, I don't know. I'll say Mendez maybe is the most likely, just because I think he's gonna have. I think he's gonna wrestle,
Right.
and losses
Oh
happen.
wait, Mendez is number 2.
Oh snap, that's right.
Alarius is one.
Rightly so.
Did they go to Vegas?
I'm pretty sure Northern
Nice.
Colorado goes
It
to
could
Vegas.
be Jesse Alirez.
Yeah.
Vegas is gonna be so good this year.
Vegas.
Michigan,
Plus
Iowa,
Brock Hardy there. Plus Swiderski there.
Mm-hmm.
JD, Michigan and Iowa don't wrestle each other this year.
Yeah. They wouldn't wrestle until second semester.
All right, next up.
I was thinking when Buchanan was going to get tested.
Next question. We kind of already answered this, but I don't know if you guys want to hit this even more. Does Nick Stemmet have the toughest regular season schedule in the FRL era?
I don't know. I feel like we have talked about like crazy weekends in the past. This
Probably has the toughest opening 2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks this year.
yeah, of this season. He wins the Hodge for toughest competition. That is a Hodge criteria.
It is.
Toughest competition. It doesn't actually say if you beat them. That's one of the issues with the Hodge is it doesn't say you have to beat them. It's just wrestle good guys.
Good point. Next question. Dominic Montano wants to know which wrestler had the biggest win of the weekend.
Huh. Luffman? I think Luffman beating Schultz is
Biggest?
literally
Literally.
literally the largest win possible.
I mean, it might be Knox over
Knox.
Drake.
That was my first thought.
I think my biggest weekend winner, maybe not the like who had the biggest win of the weekend, but my biggest weekend winner was Vincent Robinson.
Yeah.
Kind of, he really had a breakout weekend, put himself on the map this weekend, and now people are asking if he's gonna what percent chance he has to win a title.
That's so crazy. That is so cart before the horse, though, honestly. Like, these are not.
It's only because it's 125, though. You know,
Right.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't have
Like, that was.
the final boss.
Yeah. I mean, a win over Diego Sotelo is just not
crown him.
not a statement.
Or weekend winner B, even though I don't know if we'll see him, which is why he's not weekend one winner, would be Aiden Valencia because he looked really good.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about his block match, but he looked really good there.
Dominated.
Got a little tired maybe at the end. He looks small. I thought he was going to be really big at 41. I know block's probably big.
He's competed some at 61
Yeah.
kg internationally in the past year or two as well.
I don't know why, but I just thought he was a little bigger than he was. And then seeing him out there, I was like, oh, he's probably at 41 for a while. Like, I thought he would be someone that would be 49 soon. But
I was thinking we kind of covered it earlier, but someone did ask ceiling floor for Aiden Valencia this year.
yeah, I think top. Yeah, he could be fourth or fifth.
I think he could like sneak a win out against Bo Bartlett.
Yeah.
Just because Bo wrestles.
I think everyone. Here's the thing with Bo Bartlett. Everyone thinks you can sneak a win against him,
That's it.
and then no one does. So no.
It's almost more likely that he beats Jesse Mendez
Yeah.
because Jesse gets in these scraps. Aiden can maybe like cow catcher and put him on his back.
That's the funny thing about Bo. It's like it only breaks one way for him on the close match thing. Like he's in a close match.
Jesse
and
Mendez in the
he'll-
finals.
Yeah. Well,
But he doesn't lose to nobody on that level.
no, he doesn't drop matches to like.
Play with fire enough times, you know?
I know, but he just.
He plays with a lot. He's
a
never
pi-
been burned.
Yeah.
Bo Bartlett is our pyromaniac of the week of the year for FRL. He just loves playing with fire, and it will not burn him.
This is
Even one of the times he got burned, he got his hand raised.
He is Khaleesi, the unburned.
23 season. He only lost to Real Woods, Brock Hardy, and Andrew Lirez.
Yeah, he just loses to really good guys.
And that was the 23 season. That wasn't last
Yeah,
season.
and then
But look at
last
that. It's
season,
like, man, he goes to overtime with Cornella.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but W.
unburned, unsinged. If his hair caught on fire, you would know it. No,
Overtime with Cleveland
he's
Belton.
fireproof.
I'm not going to say he's fireproof, but
Fireproof.
there is something
Try
to
to
be
light
said
him on
for
fire.
He has a decent
Dude's a
amount of
winner.
pins.
Yeah, he can like cradle and cow catch guys. Yeah, he more catches than like take him down, break him down, pin him type of dude. Like a Tyler Meisinger.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Next question is from Superfan, the real Avery Lynch.
Shout out, lock in with Avery Lynch.
Lock in. He said, which high schooler has a better hit list, Bo Bassett or PJ Duke?
I don't know. I really think this is where Tyler could have helped us out and like had a good list for us.
Well, Bassett does have an NCAA champion.
He beat Ashnault.
Ashnault. Does Duke have an NCAA champion?
That's the thing. I feel like I don't think Bo. I think Bo's the only wrestler he's beat who's had NCAA success was Ashnault, right?
You can go to the USA Wrestling
Oh, that is a good
results
point.
page.
All right.
You can find
Bassett
that.
has better high school wins. Like he's beaten Knox.
He's wrestled more in high school.
Yeah, he just wrestles more. PJ, more hit and miss, dealt with injuries and whatnot.
Now, I will say Duke is higher on the ladder at his weight, senior level.
Senior level, for
like,
sure.
Bo's not ready to make a senior team yet. Quite yet, I don't think.
Duke did beat Lockett, 2 years ago or last year?
Yeah, really close match.
Now that's
So-
also partially due to the depth of their weights.
But Bo's beaten Luke Lillidahl. He's beaten Mendoza twice now. He's beaten
Anthony
Anthony Knox. Obviously, other guys that we're not recalling.
Rivalries of
Aiden
Beta.
Valencia.
Aiden Valencia. A couple times, I think. I don't know.
It's almost
at
like
the high school level, Bo Bassett has better wins, and then like senior level,
the funny thing is, I think Aiden Valencia might have the most NCAA successful hit list.
'Cause he beat Seth Gross.
Cologne, I think he beat.
Yeah, he beat some other guys too.
I think he might be one other like national finalist or something.
Have Bo and Blaze ever wrestled?
I
No,
think so.
I don't believe so.
Hmm.
I was trying to find the USA Wrestling things.
It's okay.
WW.
It's okay. We got it.
Yeah.
We exhausted this. Tk you, Real Avery Lynch. I'm not gonna
Avery Lynch,
wrestle you.
he has one more question for you.
Okay.
He wants to know, who is CP's Joey Silva? We need to know.
So, who's the best wrestler in college wrestling this year? Who would be a good Joey Silva for me? I don't know. Let me come. Let me table this. I'm gonna have a good answer for Avery
Okay.
next week.
Vince Robinson?
No, it's got to be someone that's sort of just me. That Joey Silva is Kozak's Vince Robinson.
Yeah.
honestly.
Okay. I'll take it.
But I don't know who.
Believe in you, Vince. Don't let me down.
Yeah, don't do it. Good question, Avery.
There's nothing really.
What's the
Crazy.
chat saying?
Let's see. Let's check.
Are they getting a little
chat.
reckless?
They wanted us to talk about, no, nothing really crazy. Sorry, I thought they were talking about a match that happened this weekend, but they were talking about how they're excited to see Feldman versus Gadali.
Yeah.
Nothing really crazy. They said Bartlett is Penn State's Will Luan.
Okay. That was nice of them.
Yeah, I don't know. The chat doesn't have too much to contribute right now.
See, Will Lewan was a guy who would get burned.
Mm-hmm.
He would get singed at times with his style.
People say Haynes should be number 1 over O'Toole. Some people saying that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're
You're
called
just
Penn
saying that
State
because he
fans.
beat him in freestyle.
They're just looking at his result
There's-
over Keegan.
They're just looking at the fact that he had a better year last year.
Well,
The fact that he beat him. Those are the only two things they're looking at.
Stop.
I wouldn't say he even had a better year, would you?
No, he didn't have a better year.
Yeah, because he beat Keegan last year.
He's an undefeated national champion. He can't have had a worse year.
Wrestling results. Who did he beat that was anywhere near David Carr?
He beat everyone. I'm not saying
they're all better than David Carr.
That was not an option for him.
Yeah, but so he did not have a better year than Keegan O'Toole.
He beat.
Results wise, like that's what rankings are. Like based
Well,
on
the result is
who
how.
you beat and who you lose.
I'm
to.
not saying he should be ranked higher. I agree, but Levi had a better year. He was an undefeated national champion, and
not in
Keegan
rankings.
was not.
in like terms of rankings though.
Yeah, but there's also the real world, just where it's not rankings.
You can also look at
that's
the real
not-
world where only beating David Carr and only losing to David Carr is better than
Yeah.
not losing to anybody.
It is better to no. Stop ranking it. Stop being.
Not ranking it. I'm thinking.
No.
I'm thinking a win
No,
over
no.
David Carr means more
No.
than whoever
Guys,
Levi beat.
winning NCAAs as an undefeated wrestler is better than getting third.
That's just not true. No, I'm just joking.
What's wrong with you guys?
Okay.
Stop ranking it. It's better to be an undefeated national
You can say
champion.
which would you prefer, and then you can say which is more impressive. Which is more impressive? That's maybe a better question. To me, what Keegan did is more impressive. Beating David Carr is more impressive. I know he lost to.
Joining the ranks of Julian Ramirez.
Oh, come on.
That's a fact. That's what happened.
Do you think that Carter Sriracha should be ranked above Parker Keckeisen?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Probably. Undefeated national champ. I don't count injury defaults, and nor do they.
So is
That's right.
Parker.
It's not- He hasn't lost since 2000. You could have, if you rank Parker number 1, that is certainly defensible. Super
I don't think
defensible.
it is.
Undefeated, dominate, national champ.
So I'm saying, like, you do take into account, like,
Listen, nerds, I'm not having a rankings conversation. I'm saying it's better to be an undefeated national champion. You guys keep trying to rank it. Stop ranking it.
well, I thought the
up.
discussion that was sparked because we were talking about rankings.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
the one saying that Levi should be ranked above Keegan, so it is a ranking.
Well, that was a joke, but I'm just saying he had a better year. That can't be denied.
But do you think he should be ranked above him?
It's a conversation. It's a conversation. I think Keegan's. I mean, the car loss should hurt more than you guys are. You guys are. I mean,
It would hurt if he never beat him so many times, right?
yeah,
He beat him once last year
And
too,
he's-
right?
lost to him a couple of times too.
And would you say that Austin O'Connor loss is comparable or worse than a David Carr loss?
I think it's comparable.
It's probably worse.
I think it's worse.
I don't, dude. Austin O'Connor. Yeah, if you
Austin
factor in Austin O'Connor's like injury-riddled year where he just got super tough and found a way to place, he was an undefeated national champion that the year he beat Levi. Like he was kind of untouched that whole season. He was
Probably the same, right?
Levi was touched by
never
Vinny's Urban.
and Levi never beat Austin O'Connor. So you
Right.
have a comparable result against a comparable opponent, and Keegan has wins over that opponent.
yeah,
So it's kind of the case.
just like Julian.
All right.
So
That-
Julian
That stings.
M1.
Julian over all of them.
Julian Ramirez,
You're,
biggest hit
no,
list,
you're the
never
one
an
who said
All-American.
that David Carr was the same as Austin O'Connor. I didn't say that. You did. So
I don't know, I think that win is pretty comparable.
yeah, and Levi never beat Austin O'Connor.
Yeah, true. But
There you go.
But also, Levi clearly got better. Levi also lost to Vinny Zurban that year, so he got better. And
Another
was
loss
undefeated.
that Keegan doesn't have.
I mean, we're talking about
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
He was a true freshman. Now he's obviously gotten better.
I don't even know what we're arguing anymore.
I don't know.
I was just trying to fight.
Earn your gold. Earn your gold is on Christian's side. He said
Yeah.
Haynes should be above Keegan. Keegan lost in the NCAA semis, and Levi didn't lose a single time
Well,
last.
there it is. NCAA semis.
Earn your gold. True MVP. It's a conversation. I don't know. I'd have to look at everything. I mean, I don't punish guys for being at a different weight class.
I-
Oh, we didn't
Our
either.
ranking has nothing to do with weight class. It's just wins.
I think it's quality. Yeah, I think it's obvious
Yeah,
that
it's a
David
conversation.
Carr is a different level of guy than probably anyone that Levi wrestled at 157.
Yeah, and he lost to him.
All right. JD also sent me some questions that were emailed to him. So
Ooh.
don't forget that you can email your.
Don't forget that Tyler would never let us forget that you can email questions.
He said, I don't know who. JD didn't include names here, but someone said, no, we're moving out of freestyle season. But why are the names of wrestlers from India repeated, at least for official UWW events? I heard
India's
someone on FRL mention
complicated, bro.
passports.
Yeah, it has to do with their passport system where their name pops
Yeah,
up.
it's not really their names.
Okay.
Yeah, they have other names. Yeah, I don't know.
Great. Now, next one is, who do you think some of the most underrated coaches in the NCAA are right now? Personally, I think Rob Cole doesn't get enough credit. He spelled Rob Cole's name wrong.
I think Rob Cole gets a ton of credit.
gets a ton of
honestly.
credit.
Yeah, but if you don't think Rob Cole gets credit, let us.
How do you
say
spell his name?
He spelled it Cole.
Rob Cole Conrad. He's really good.
I don't think to the broader NCAA audience. I think with like us and hardcore wrestling fans, Damian Hahn gets a lot of credit, but I think more broadly he maybe hasn't gotten a bunch of credit. I think he's a really good coach, and you know they've got this new facility, awesome facility as well in Brookings.
Pull up the team rankings. That'll help me.
Okay.
I gave a big shout out to Coach Dresser a couple weeks ago for building 2 national trophy winning programs.
Jimmy Pollard hurt you and immediately re-signed his contract.
Oh yeah. and have I gotten a word of thanks from Coach Dresser for basically earning him that?
Kickback.
Just,
Well,
just
just a little
highly
kickback.
recognized as one of the best coaches, though.
Yeah, well, I do not think people realize or give consideration to what he did at 2 different
Dude,
That is
this
special. Plus high school. People never talk about Christiansburg.
Christiansburg and Grundy.
Hey, Neil Arisman.
Yeah.
Little Rock, baby.
Yeah. He got a lot of love at the end of last year for getting Little and Nasir on the podium. I mean, Arisman is sort of the template for what you can do
Yeah.
at a brand new program.
Time.
I've already talked about this at length, but like there's no recruiting pool in Arkansas that's going to, move you, right? It's no tradition. They're in the Pac-12, I think. They were.
Yeah.
I don't know if they moved. They're in the Pac.
Oh, they still are.
Everything's weird, and they're just a good team.
Give Damian Hahn some credit right now.
Damian? Oh, we always give Damian a ton of credit. He is what he's doing at South Dakota State is incredible. They're gonna have this could be their best team they've had. Adding Glazier and Seabricht, and they already have. I mean, look at the job Berge from the start of the year to the end of the year. Completely different guy. Really good. I'm getting Tanner Jordan on the podium.
Just think about, I know wrestling is different than a lot of sports, but in what other sporting world is South Dakota State top 10 Division I in the
Division I.
country?
It's crazy. It's nuts, man. I'll fight for Mark Manning. Someone said, I forget what it was. If they don't do whatever at NCAAs this year, is it time for like you guys? Nebraska does such every single year. They have a really, really good team. And the point I made to this person on Twitter is basically like, there are a lot of great coaches that just, for whatever reason, they can't get all the dots to connect at the NCAA tournament. And it's not because they're not great coaches. It's a really tough puzzle to solve. I mean, we've seen Brian Smith and Pat Popolizio are regarded as some of the best coaches. And like, they have had a hard time consistently every year getting their guys to wrestle to the level they do in the regular season. But it's not that the guys that they have aren't really, really good. It's just NCAAs is sometimes a really tough. It's just really hard to do. And there's a lot of really good programs that at the NCAA tournament don't do as well. I mean, Iowa gets flack for it. Like the regular season versus this was more a couple of years ago, but like it and what you realize is it happens to almost every team. And Penn State sets such a unrealistic standard for the whole country that everyone's compared to. And the reality is most teams fall off at NCAAs.
I remember I did it when we previewed Nebraska in August or something, but I went back and looked, and you have to go back a ways, I think to the Burroughs days of them winning a team trophy, but they are consistently a top 10 program
Yes.
in NCAA wrestling, and not to make everything comparable to other NCAA sports, but a scenario where a sport is a perennial top 10
Yes.
team in the country
Yes.
is a extremely widely considered one of the best programs every year. And I feel like Nebraska doesn't get that reputation that they deserve as basically
Totally agree.
a powerhouse school. Now it's because wrestling doesn't, have the same popularity and number of schools maybe as others. But think about if their football program was regularly top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
And ranked number 4 in the country.
And not similar to Little Rock, but it's worth noting Nebraska is a good high school wrestling state, but it's not like churning out numerous Division I guys. So they're recruiting nationally, which is a challenge.
Nebraska wrestling is on the come up, I think.
On the come up, but like how many? If you look at the, of the states to be based out of, it's
Right, they're definitely not tier
top
1.
10. So. He does a great job. Pat Pop does a great job. Brian Smith does a great job.
We talk about the skinny Cornhuskers.
Skinny Huskers.
Skinny skirts.
Skinny Skirts. The low corn diet. Cornhuskers. That's going to be the biggest challenge of all. I thought Pinto looks like a freak at 174. Allred looked like still adjusting to 184. I thought he looked skinny, and like energy was not as high as you would normally see. Something to monitor, not something to react to. Smith, really, really close sudden victory. But honestly, if you watch that match, he was on the leg the whole time against, I think Riggs is his last, Bridger Riggs.
Yeah.
Very Utah.
Big rig.
Ricks.
Brigger Ricks.
Bridger?
Bridger Ricks. No matter what I say, it's very Utah. He was on his legs so many times on the edge and just couldn't finish. So it was one of those where it felt like he wrestles it again. He wins by 6, but in this one he won in overtime. Didn't feel like Ricks was close to winning the match.
Terrell Bearclaw majored Bubba Wilson.
Bearclaw looks really good.
The Indian Outlaw. He's having a good season so far.
Friends call him Bearclaw. A little Tim McGraw throwback. So yeah, no, that was they look good there. I mean, Hardy wasn't getting much offense off, but nothing to react to there. Their 41's pretty tough. Van D looked really good. A lot of takedowns, a lot of turns. Ridge Lovett shut it down. He was the last match of the night and got a pin. So Huskers look good.
If we're back on the underrated coaches topic, I feel like it's like
I like that topic.
I feel like it's everyone.
Wow.
I don't know, bro. That's like so
Out California.
It's so hard to pick. It's so hard to pick because I look at the top 20 and I'm like, dang, they're all doing such a great job. Good job, guys.
I mean, Coach
Participation trophy guy.
Coach Ayers is. I mean, what he did at Princeton is they were the worst program, and then brought them to legitimacy, and now Stanford is interesting because it feels like a place where the floor is always going to be high. Like it's going to be really, really, they're always going to get a couple of guys that just are like real woods and like all they want to do is go to Stanford. And then when you add, there's going to be a real pool for wrestling otherwise for them. I think they're a team to monitor. I mean, Coach Cole, he had it rolling. They had some insane recruiting classes, and now Coach Ayers is going to be able to keep that rolling. They're a program to continue to monitor. Doug Schwab does a really good job, too, at UNI, as I'm looking at. Coach Santoro. Also, just everyone.
Yeah.
If I can just be the first to
Name
say
them all.
everyone.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
All right, now Tyler's going to list the worst coaches in college wrestling.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all our questions.
Couple things to mention then as we're wrapping. All-Star Classic is Saturday. I'm going. Who's going? Show of hands.
No.
Nobody?
We're going to Oregon State, Oklahoma State, baby.
Sunday, baby.
Dang. What a great weekend on Flow Wrestling. So the Starachi Kekheisen match is the match of the weekend. It's the match of the month. Maybe the match of the regular season. The most interesting.
Why stop there? Century?
Let's go Century.
Match of the week of the century.
Yeah, last 1,000 years, the century. I think.
I'm gonna get ahead of this. The winner of that match will most likely be crowned Week 3 Dan Hodge Trophy Award winner.
Whoa. I don't know.
Leave some wiggle room, but
we need to find what open tournaments are this weekend and who's going to go and get 6 pins in the first period. No, I think it's going to be a fascinating match. I'm really curious, like, will the guys show their hands here? Right? I'm hoping they do. I hope they put the cards on the table because I think so much can change from November to March.
we'll do a good deep preview.
Yeah.
Thursday.
But you guys just need to know. You need to start planning your
Yes.
Saturday
That's right.
because you're not going to want to miss.
What time?
Miss this.
What time does this start?
I'm going to say 7 Eastern.
It says 6 p.m. Central, so you're correct.
Yes. And we have 5 women's matches, a D2 versus D3 match, and then your 10 Division 1
Yeah, going to be
lineup.
an incredible evening of wrestling. I can't wait for it. Oregon State, Oklahoma State. We haven't even talked about Oklahoma State at Michigan State Open. I do want to mention this because while the results are whatever they were, it's very notable that Cale Hughes wrestled at 133 and won, and that Tegan Jamison wrestled at 141 and won. Because there were questions, I think even recently, are these guys going to go that weight class? And it always felt like for Oklahoma State, for their lineup, those were the best weights for the Cowboys. But was it the best weight for those guys? And now seeing them down, I think that's a good sign for Oklahoma State fans just to see those two at that weight class and able to navigate a tournament. Regardless of the level of competition, it's just to see them wrestle there is definitely notable and sets the Cowboys up to put their best lineup on the mat this year. Cody Merrill also won 197 at Michigan State Open. Is he going to be the guy over Serber? Situation to monitor. Serber has a red shirt, as does Merrill, so they can kick that down a little bit. But very notable at Michigan State to see the Cowboys on the mat, and we'll see them against Oregon State, which will be, who do they use against the Beavers at 197? That's what I'm curious about. Yeah. So you guys are going to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to be all over the place this weekend. Be a fun weekend in college wrestling. I don't even know what else is happening. I'm so all-star focused. But yeah, Oregon State, Oklahoma State, and the All-Star Classic Saturday. Going to be a fun one. Yep. Anything else before we let the people go?
It's 11:31.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. Wow. Time flies. How can we just perfectly make this show 90 minutes without ever trying? Mm-hmm. We don't have some super organized document that says how long things are going to take. It just takes an hour and a half.
Sometimes you just need to argue about who should be ranked higher, Levi Haynes or Keegan O'Toole.
Yeah.
Eats up the perfect amount of time.
That's the true love letter to the genre.
Yes.
Tyler says that, and it makes me laugh. And I don't even know what it's from. But
well, it's like, how people are always like, man, last night was a movie.
Yeah.
You just add to it, Last night was a film. A love letter to the genre.
I love that.
Fresh take on an old classic.
When I hear fresh take, I just think Subway sandwich. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We're going to be back Wednesday. Oh, my gosh. Wednesday.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
Yes. Not Thursday. Just so y'all know. Just so I know, and the producers.
I'm just now learning this.
They're just telling you for the first time because Thursday's a travel day for
Yeah,
us.
makes sense.
Yep. So see you guys on Wednesday. Just one day off, and we'll be back seated right here. For Kozak, Raider, and Tyler, I'm Christian Piles. Thanks so much. Thanks to Josh for producing the show. We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Did you say their last name?